Welcome to Todd's 2-Minute Tech Tip Tuesday, brought to you by Big Beard Battery. Visit bigbeardbattery.com. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. Hit the subscribe button now. Thank you. Hey, this week, let's go ahead and cover how to winterize the RV. Now, let's hold on real quick. This might take just a little bit longer than 2 minutes, but let's talk about how to actually winterize the RV. Now, guys, there are several different ways to winterize. There's one way I prefer, and there is no one way for 100% of all RVs, but I am going to suggest that we actually do one specific method. Now, to cover the different types of winterization, here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to prepare that RV because we're going to put it up and it's going to be in storage under cold weather, okay? And I'm specifically going to be addressing winterization for the plumbing system. Now, typically we have water inside, and when water freezes, it expands, and that's what busts the pipe. Now, if we can just get the water out of the pipes, that is great. And that is a method to winterize, and that is hooking up an air compressor to blow the water out. Now, guys, I'll tell you, I don't prefer it. I know if you're far north, it's really almost the only way that you can do it. The problem is we've got so many bends and turns, and we've got coils and everything else, you can't fully get rid of the water. So not only that, there's so many considerations. You got to lower the pressure, air pressure below 60 psi. If your air compressor isn't cleaned out, now you're pumping in a little bit dirty air, so you have to have a filter and all this stuff. So to me, it's not the preferred way. Let's talk about the preferred way, and that is actually prepping your RV and putting food-grade antifreeze, the pink stuff, food-grade antifreeze into your RV system. So let me quickly go over how to prep your RV. So let's say you've got everything else buttoned up. You might have put up the appropriate stuff on the windows to prevent air from coming in, cover your tires, whatever you need to do to prep your tires. But let's go ahead and vacate the water from your system. So first and foremost, what we want to do is make sure I have no water in my holding tank. Right now, I've already cleaned out my black tank. I've already cleaned out my gray tank. I wouldn't even suggest, depending on how cold the winter you have, I wouldn't even suggest having any water in there. Yes, there is room for it to expand, but if it freezes slowly, it may just expand sideways. And it's just undue, how do I put this? It could bust the tank. So just dump your black tank and gray tank. We're going to have to clean those out when you come back. I want to go after that freshwater holding tank, and I need you to dump it. Right? Get all that water out. So you're going to open up. You're going to find where you have your dump valve and open that up. Some rigs, it's called the low point drain. You open that up, the water comes out, not only of the lines, but also out of that holding tank. Okay? Others, the low point drain, where our lines are lower than the tank. So my tank has its own drop, but then I have a low point drain, so you want to open those up. You've dumped the water out of your freshwater holding tank. Okay? Now we need to go over to the water heater. If you have a tanked water heater, we want to get the water out of that. Now, here's the current situation. The water heater has hot water in it. It's under pressure, right? So we don't just willy-nilly go over there and open up the drain valve. The first thing that we need to do is go inside and turn the water heater off. You see, 12 volts rules all, and 12 volts would stop the heating process. We want that to cool down. Now, the quickest way to take that hot water out of the water heater, the quickest way to take that out, open up the hot water faucet, let the hot water come out, let cold water go in. So how do you do that? If you're still connected to city, let that water run, okay? If you're not connected to city, hopefully you've done this part before you actually dumped all the water out of your holding bay. So please watch the whole video before you start this. Don't stop it as you go. All right. When we do that, all pressure comes from the cold water side. Cold water goes into the hot water heater. Hot water comes out. So you go over to your sink, you open up your faucet until the hot water turns lukewarm, until it turns cold, or whatever temperature you have, right? When you do that, you have now replaced the hot water in your water heater with cold water. Turn off the water faucet. Now, you go dump your holding tank, turn off your water over on your faucet. Don't go over to that service valve, that drain plug and open it up. We got to relieve the pressure. So go outside to your water heater. You've got a P&T valve. Now this is just a little faucet looking thing. It's got a handle. It's under compression. You stand to the side and you open that up. Some water's going to come out. Now here's the thing. I want you to turn off your water pump. Before you do this, I want you to turn off the water faucet, the city water as well. What I'm trying to do is relieve the pressure inside. If I have water still going into the water heater, then I'm never going to relieve that pressure. So no water is going into the water heater. I'm going to walk over there, open that up. Water's going to come out, so I'm standing to the side, but eventually the water stops going out, right? And I get all that pressure out. So I'm equal pressure on both sides. So I've got no water flow going in the water heater. I've got no water in my holding tank, and I'm not connected to city anymore, but I still have water inside the water heater. No pressure. So now I go ahead and grab a socket. If you have an Atwood or a Dometic, 15 16-inch socket, short well, 3-inch extension. Get your socket wrench outside the periphery. If you have a Suburban, get your 1 1/16-inch deep well socket, 3-inch extension. Okay. Now you go ahead and take out either your anode rod or your drain plug and let the water come out. Now the water's going to glug. You open up your P&T valve, all the water comes out. Quite frankly, I'm going to tell you, don't even put the drain plug back in. Just set it there, close the door. So now you have no water in your water heater. You've got no water in your holding tank. If you have a wet-based system, 2 different types of RVs, wet-based system, non-wet-based system. Now, wet-based system has the levers where you hook up your water, and you can put it from normal over into winterization. If you have the wet-based system, put it in winterization. You've just stopped any flow of water going to the water heater. If you do not have a wet-based system, now you have to find your way to the back of the water heater. You're going to have what's called bypass valves, shut-off valves and bypass valves. You need to shut off the water going into the water heater, shut off the water coming out of the water heater, and if you have a bypass valve, put it open. Allow the water or whatever liquid we're about to put in there to bypass the water heater. That's why we call it a bypass valve. Okay, so now you're set up. You've got no water in your holding tank. You've got no water in your water heater. You're not connected to city, and your pump isn't on yet, okay? What we want to do is put the food grade antifreeze in, and your holding tank, your water heater, is actually now offline because you are now bypassed. For those of you with the wet-based system, a 3-foot hose is all you need. You're going to take a 3-foot hose, hook it to your wet bay, drop the other side into your food grade antifreeze. Now I'll tell you this, you need 2 gallons for a travel trailer, 4 gallons for a 5th wheel, 5 gallons if it's a 5th wheel with a washing machine or a dishwasher or a Class A, the same thing, about 5, maybe 6 gallons at most. So you need a 5-gallon bucket, and you're going to take your food grade antifreeze, the pink stuff, and pour it in that 5-gallon bucket. Now that if you have a wet-based system, you're in the winterization mode, go inside, turn your water pump on, O-N. Now what you're going to do is carefully go to each one of your faucets, okay? Showers, toilets, everything. Open up the cold water first and let it run. Let the clear water go out until pink fluid comes up. Turn off the cold faucet, open up the hot water side, okay? 2 different lines. So you got pink stuff in the cold side, so don't do both at once. Do the cold side first, let the pink stuff come out. Turn that off, then open up the hot side. Clear water comes out, then the pink stuff, right? Go ahead and let that pink stuff get in that P trap. Now turn that off. Most important thing, every single faucet, guys, do not forget to flush your toilet, okay? If you have a standard RV style toilet, you have a vacuum breaker on the back that has a small section of water in there. You need to flush till you get it pink. Your showers, turn on the cold side first, hot side. If you have a washing machine or a dishwasher, you're going to have to run just a small amount of load. I need to get all that pink stuff into the system itself. Go outside the RV. Do you have an outside shower? Do you have an outside city faucet? Whichever. Turn those all on. And then finally, get over to your low point drains. Open up the cold side. Let the clear water come out till it turns pink. Close that off. Open up the hot side. Let it run till the pink stuff. If you have a refrigerator with an ice maker, okay, you can actually just run that until the pink stuff, run the water through the system till the pink stuff comes in. It's food grade. You can do that. Now, if you want to bypass that, you can. It's an extra step. You have to figure out where the water line is going to your refrigerator, turn that in the off position, and then you need to disconnect that line because you got water going up to the refrigerator. You need to let all that drain out. or you can let the pink stuff run in. Again, the main thing is do not forget. I know you're going to have comments. You forgot this. It all depends on what you have in your rig. You do every single faucet, anything that has water, shower, toilet, all of those, okay? Now you're actually getting pretty much set up. I've got water and everything, okay? The only place I may not have water, okay, is going to be in my black tank flush, okay? A little bit difficult for this one. And there is a step to that. I'll put it in the comments how to do this. If you do not have a wet base system, you're kind of wondering, how do I get the pink stuff into my water pump and everything else? Here's what you need to do is create a bypass, okay? You need to find your water pump, but you also need to get a fitting. This fitting is going to be a 1/2 inch MPT thread, and on the other side, it's going to be a 1/2 inch barb. And then what you need is just a section of 1/2 inch tubing, clear tubing. It could be threaded tubing, whatever it may be. 1/2 inch, maybe 2 foot long. You need to find your water pump, and you need to find the inlet side. Typically, the inlet side is going to have a strainer. Take the strainer off. Okay, you're going to now take that fitting with the hose. You're going to connect those together, clamp that together. You're going to take that hose and connect it to the inlet side, the input side of your water pump. Now take the other section of that hose and, of course, put it in the food grade antifreeze. Okay, and do the same steps, cold water, hot water. If you have a whole house water filter, take the water filter out, okay? If you can bypass it, that's fine. Most of us, we can't. Disconnect it, take the water filter out. That water filter will do its darndest to get the pink stuff out. Take it out, okay? If you want to go ahead and fill that with some food grade antifreeze, that's fine. You're going to spend a little bit more pouring that in there. So where do you get this food grade antifreeze? This is the pink stuff. You can get it at your local Walmart in the RV section, or you can go to your local auto parts store, your auto parts store. Most of the RV products that we get is actually distributed by a company that actually also delivers parts in the auto industry. So your local auto parts store will carry the pink food grade antifreeze. All right? So now you're all buttoned up. I know that you're going to have other suggestions, on, how to go ahead and button it up more depending on where you're at. This is just a quick information, quick setup on how to actually get that food grade antifreeze in there. And there's your tech tip. If you got a Suburban, a 1 1/6. I've got free time. Crap, we can't even do that part. We have to do the water heater first. Holy cow. All right. Hey, Lee, I jumped over there on the wet base system, and I'm sitting there going, I can't back out. All right, so we're going to cut that part out. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I've seen some of you making statements. I don't think they're complaints, because anytime you get more of me, it's not a complaint. So you've dumped the water out of your holding bay, out of your freshwater, damn it. If you have a Suburban, get your 1 1/16 inch. If you have a Suburban, get your 1 1/son of a, get your socket wrench. I'm sure someone's going to say I forgot something. All right. Oh, your water hose. Yeah, drain that water hose. Throw it away, right? Who's going to use a 3-month-old water hose anyway? Not me. Bam! Boogity-boo. There you go.